Luck.
Luck.
I needed a job and they had an opening.
Yeah.
Really, I had planned to go back to Chicago to be an editor. And I just thought I'd take a look around. I knew I had to leave Iowa. There were just all sorts of problems. So it was time to leave Iowa. And I just thought I'd look around and see if any universities had teaching jobs. But I really wasn't expecting anything in magazine because there's so few magazine sequences. And this had an opening, and they hired me. Well, right now I'm only teaching the electronic publishing, and I would like to keep it that way. I'm really enjoying that course, and I hope it's nice to focus on something and learn something really well. In the past, I've taught all the magazine courses and advanced and information gathering, but they're letting me focus and actually master one for a change. Well, in 407, well, I know that my students are not going to be designers. So that's something I acknowledge to them right away. The purpose of this course is, so in other words, I don't expect them to reach a level of, well, they do pretty good work, but I don't expect them to reach a level that, say, the VisCom students would. But I do expect them to learn to communicate in visual language, in visual terms, in visual concepts, because that's how you work with people in the visuals, is you've got to speak the language. So that's the expectation in that class. Oh, generic expectations. I get and expect students to really put out an effort, that it's not show up and do the exercise. I want a little bit of perfectionism. In fact, one of the problems I often deal with in these classes is to get people to moderate perfectionism so it's healthy, not too much. And that, to me, is a good thing to be trying to do, to pull people back from extreme contributions rather than trying to push them to. I occasionally get a student that just is showing up. But most of the time, my problem's the other way around. Back off so you're not so overcommitted that you burn out. That's a lot of fun to work with. That's a nice problem to have. Read everything you can. Read novels, read Harry Potter, read science, read nonfiction, read newspapers, read magazines. The more reading you do, the more comfortable you are with the thought processes that go into being a journalist. I train editors, even in the visual skills course. And what is an editor? An editor is a person who can interpret and explain. And reading is a skill that stretches your abilities to interpret what you see around you and to explain what you see around you. An assumption I make in all my teaching is that the goal of teaching is to get students to the point where they do not need us anymore. That a student has to be able to self-teach themselves. Sometimes students get very annoyed at this, that I'll get them just so far in Photoshop and then I'll point out a book and a help menu. And they go, they want to be told everything. I say, no, the secret to mastery is you can teach yourself. Certainly the same was true in information gathering, where I would get people started, but the secret to managing research skills is not knowing where the things are, but figuring out how to find out where they are. In other words, you can teach yourself what the resources are. And that's always something in the back of my planning in any course, is how can I get students to confront their own learning style and stretch it so that when they leave us, they really don't need us anymore. Future of journalism, I don't know. The future of journalism education, I think, is to do away with these sequence divisions, because one trend that seems to be emerging is that every media is all media. Every medium is all media. Every magazine company is also a web company, and it also has some broadcast and video and public relations. And so students are now needing to be more comfortable with media. And consequently, they need to be more aware of what underlies all media. Fairness, accuracy, balance. I mean, some of the fundamentals are true no matter what the medium. And I think if we try to train the whole student for a multifaceted career, So we were founded around sequences. We may have to examine whether sequences are still relevant.